McCoy's here today. I've revoked his release based on his new charge. He held without bond on that. What else do we have? And Mr. McCoy, you understand that you're representing yourself. I have found you competent to represent yourself. At any point in time, these proceedings, you can ask an attorney if he appointed to represent you.
Yes, sir.
Do you still wish to represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Looks like there's been some, there's been a DCA case filed. I don't know if it's based on the discovery request or not. I don't know. All right. Yes, that's what it looks like. All right. Anything else today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, first, I would just like to request that I'm a bond reinstated, sir.
Motion denied.
And reason being, sir, can I please have an explanation why?
If you were out on bond, you picked up another charge, you pled to that charge.
And the only reason, sir, regardless of the facts, the only reason I accepted that charge is because they said they was only going to give me a fine. But the person that actually, was in the fight, they came there and they seen that I was breaking up the fight.
Mr. McCoy, I've already made my decision when you entered.
I understand that, Mr. Clark. I'm just stating this for the record.
You've set the motion that you were breaking up a fight and that you didn't cause a fight and you weren't involved in the fight, that you were the peacemaker. But however, you did enter a plea, and that's all part of the record. I understand that, but I am going to deny your motion to reinstate the bond.
All right, Mr. Clark. Can we discuss my case? I was here for a court date on my case.
Well, you've already filed a notice of appeal on the second request for discovery, so I don't know what else there is to discuss today.
Well, and that I was wanting to discuss, sir, is the fact that, my subpoenas and everything never got responded to. I filed subpoenas through the court and to the people about my the videos of my evidence, sir.
Well, if they've been served with subpoenas and they haven't responded, you need to do a motion for show cause.
Motion to show cause.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about I just want to know your opinion, sir, since you're the judge.
I can't give you my opinion.
No. Based on the proceedings, sir. I was discussing with Mr. Frank Sullivan. It's not looking for help. All the thing I'm asking, sir, is why am I being denied my evidence?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, if Bay County officers was the primary officer, sir, in my case,
okay,
and they will only be assisted by.
I've heard this argument for the ever since you've been arrested, so it's already part of the record. I've already made my ruling. You've already appealed that ruling, so we'll see what the first DCA says. I'm going to set this for a pretrial June 19th at 9 o'clock. That'll conclude the hearing. Okay?
Well, sir, I still had a couple things I really wanted to say for the record.
Say them on the 19th.
Seriously, come on, Mr. Clark, man. We got.
What do you want to put on the record? I'm going to give you a minute. Go.
All right. The whole thing I want to put on the record, Mr. Clark, is I want to know what kind of beef that you got with me, sir, or Mr. Frank Sullivan, but I keep having multiple prosecutors filing motions against me, the ones that was pulled off of my case. Why they still filing motions
Mr.
against
McCoy,
me.
I understand that argument.
But it makes no sense because it seems like my case is going nowhere,
Listen,
especially when you have nothing to even
these
try
state
to do.
attorneys don't stay here very long. The ones that are on your case are in another division. I have nothing to do with that. Mr. Sullivan has nothing to do with that.
He just said he does.
Huh?
He just said he did.
No, what I said, Mr. McCoy said that despite who the prosecutor is, you're also involved in my case. And I said, yes, that is true because I'm the division chief. I didn't say I had anything to do with moving prosecutors or changing.
He doesn't move, but he is the division chief. So
okay, if my old prosecutor's already moved to a different division, whatever, why is she still filing motions against me? And then obviously when she signed it, she said this motion is for Frank Sullivan.
They all sign it for Larry Bassford. It doesn't matter who signs it, who files it. They're filing on behalf of Larry Bassford. So that's going to conclude today's hearing.
That makes no sense, Mr. Clark.
Mr. McCoy, that concludes the hearing. I understand. There's nothing else to be said about that. Ms. Beasley?
Judge, Mr. Williams is before you this morning on his request to discharge counsel. He's also trial management this afternoon, but I'd ask that we take care of both these this morning.
Yes, sir, we will. Mr. Williams, you're asking to discharge Mr. Meredith?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you'll raise your right hand to be sworn.
Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
All right, sir, lower your hand and state your name, please.
I'm Kareem Williams.
All right, what's your basis to dismiss Mr. Meredith?
just not, I don't feel like we had a solid bond as far as attorney and me.
Repeat that again, please.
I just don't feel like we had a solid bond formed.
Okay. You're gonna have to explain that to me, what a solid bond between your lawyer means.
Like, I don't feel like he was representing me properly.
All right, you're gonna have to give me some specifics.
Well, I asked him to do a couple things on my behalf, and those things weren't fulfilled.
Did he tell you why?
No.
Okay. What did you ask him to do?
Basically, file a few motions, present evidence, and to, present evidence on my behalf and
Present it to who?
to the prosecution.
Mr. Meredith, your response?
Your Honor, there was body cam in this case, which I reviewed. If I remember correctly, there's 3 officers. I negotiated a PTI agreement in which case all the charges would be dismissed if he completed the terms of that that agreement. Yesterday from Mr. White, I received a misdemeanor offer in the alternative if he wanted to take some misdemeanors, but because of the status of him requesting a new attorney, I have not reviewed that with him. There's no motion to suppress based on what I've seen from the body cam. There is a potential motion to dismiss on the controlled substance, but I suspect the state would traverse that. Nevertheless, we're false name with adverse effect would still be there. And the state is willing to do the PTI, or now it's getting rid of the felony drug charge, reducing the false information with adverse effect to a misdemeanor, and allow them to do misdemeanor probation. There's no motions that I think could be filed that would cause any charges to be dismissed. And if he doesn't want the offers from the state, we're scheduled for trial.
All right, Mr. Williams, I'm gonna find that Mr. Meredith has been competent in his representation. I'm going to deny your motion to have another attorney appointed. You understand you've been offered a misdemeanor or a pretrial intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I've dismissed all your pro se filings based on your being represented. So, do you know what you wish to do today?
You asked me, do I know what I wish to do today?
Mm-hmm. You want to remain on the trial docket?
Yes.
And face 2 felonies, or do you want to take a misdemeanor or go through the pretrial intervention program?
How long with the probation?
It's up to a year on county probation. If locks in, there's no felonies. Do that.
All right, if you want to just have him have a seat, and you don't have to bring him back up, Mr. Meredith, just have him sign it and do an abstention. Mr. Meredith, tally for.
If I can call Mr. Williams back.
Mr. Williams?
Your Honor, Mr. Williams has an appointment at my office to watch the body cam this afternoon at 2:00 with Investigator Ryder. He knows that the state is revoking the misdemeanor offer, but we'd ask that it be taken off the trial docket for this.
Any objection?
I'm making a.
He's rejecting the misdemeanor, so.
Yes, Your Honor. I have no objection to removing him from the trial docket, but that misdemeanor offer is revoked if he's not taking it.
Williams, you understand that? We'll set it. You want to set it for just a pretrial or a trial?
I'll defer to Mr. Meredith.
Either way, Judge. It looks like it's headed for trial, but I've tried to communicate with Mr. Williams.
And you're gonna meet with him this afternoon and,
Yeah, the investigator will.
oh, investigate. I mean, that's just as good. All right, just sign a note for that day, sir, and I'm gonna take it off the trial docket.
Thank you, Judge.
So who's gonna be representing me? I'll be representing myself.
No, I'm representing you,
Okay.
but you're not going to meet with me this afternoon. You're going to meet with an investigator and watch it. And then you can schedule an appointment with him. Okay, just sign there. Judge, this afternoon, there's Jeremy Turner.
Does he withdraw?
What?
He withdrawn to represent himself?
I don't know that
He didn't ever ask to represent himself.
he asked that I be removed.
Hey everybody, welcome to American Courts. We got Judge Simpson and another Thurston County one I didn't get to earlier today, so we're going to jump over to let's jump over to Judge Simpson, and he had a feisty one earlier. He's still got one going right now. I'm still trying to record it, so let's see how that one goes. Here, this one's from earlier.
Court case, People versus Larry Lee.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mary Tanha, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney about the people.
And Mary Rubio, on behalf of Mr. Lee, I am standing in for the attorney of record, David Burgess, with Mr. Lee's consent, to my knowledge. Is that correct, sir? That is okay for me to stand in for you right now?
Yes,
Okay, could you please state your name?
thoroughly.
What is that noise?
Right. Shouldn't you check? I don't feel safe.
What
Why are you just pointing? What?
Don't stop at some.
It'll stop at some point.
I feel very safe, Your Honor.
Wow, I know. He's like, no, you are all over it. All right. Yes. All right, go ahead. What are we doing?
Well, Your Honor, a few things. First of all, I've been in communication with Mr. Burgess and Mr. Arabo, who is representing the victim of the case, Mr. Quasny. Apparently, Mr. Lee called Mr. Arabo and offered to, in exchange, there's a pending case where Mr. Quasny is the defendant of an AMB against Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee contacted Mr. Arabo and offered to essentially not testify in that case if Mr. Quasny agreed not to testify in this case. There are statements that are essentially saying, in exchange for Mr. Quasny, victim in this case, not testifying, I will also not testify. That is highly concerning, of course. I was given this information yesterday. I asked Mr. Arabo to forward that call to myself, Mr. Burgess, and the officer in charge, because we want it documented for potential additional charges. But this all transpired yesterday. We got the recording as of this morning. With that said, of course, I think it's.
I just look at that judge's face. He looks like he's on mute, but he's there. And he's just scowling.
Before we have an adjournment, Mr. Burgess agrees with that.
Hold it, but does that recording indicate that?
Yes, Your Honor, have either one.
Okay. I myself have not listened to the recording. I was just asked to stand in on behalf of Mr. Burgess. He's at a hearing in Lansing. However, I did speak to Mr. Lee about it today. Mr. Lee indicates he indicated some of the content of the conversation to me. He also indicated, just FYI, that he himself recorded it.
But just so that I have this right, the defendant, because of something else, is urging, enticing, or in some other way interfering with testimony of witnesses in this case.
I can't agree to that characterization because I haven't heard it. I don't know.
Well, you want to listen to, because that's what I'm being told.
But yes, I understand. I understand that is what's being presented. I also want to indicate that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Mr. Lee has indicated to me some things. I have advised him to be careful of what he would want to say to Your Honor, but he seems to feel that he needed to make that phone call because he wants to move to have Mr. Burgess removed and he wants to get a different attorney. Mr. Lee has indicated to me he also wants to address the court. I again did advise him I would not go into the content of that conversation as there could be potential pending new charges. With that said, Mr. Lee, what is it you wanted to say?
Yes, Judge, I indicated to, what's your name?
Mary Rubio, Ms. Rubio.
To Ms. Rubio that for a little bit over a month, I contacted my attorney, Mr. Burgess, and I instructed him to contact the lawyers from both sides, the prosecution and the other side that represented Mr. Kwasny, and I instructed him to offer a plea or to negotiate some sort of settlement, and he indicated that he would do that. He indicated that he had done that. He indicated that he had reached out to Mr. Arabo and the prosecutor regarding making some sort of plea agreement. Him and I discussed what that could be. And so now, fast forward, yesterday, I contacted Mr. Burgess and I said, hey, have you reached out or have you heard anything from Mr. Arabo and the prosecutor? He said, and he indicated that he had not heard anything and that he had reached out to both attorneys multiple times. I knew that to be a lie. I suspected that to be a lie. And I knew that if I were to have him or to ask you to have him removed or substituted, that I would have to prove under Strickland versus Washington that he.
I don't know, are you a lawyer?
I was,
Mr. Lee, no, to my knowledge, no.
So I knew that I had to prove that he was ineffective. I knew that I had to prove that our breakdown was egregious. So I recorded the call myself. And I called Mr. Arabo and I asked if Mr. Burgess reached out and discussed any sort of plea negotiations. Mr. Arabo said, no, sir. He had not had any communications with my attorneys. So I confirmed with Mr. Arabo that he had not received any communications about any kind of negotiations with any kind of plea agreements on my behalf.
I'm so sorry to Mr. Lee, before he makes more statements.
And I did record the. I recorded the call.
Criminalizing himself.
I recorded the call.
In his best interest, he might want to listen to this call before he makes any further statements. In the call that was sent to us, there is indication, there's no discussion of a plea. Not what was sent to me. That was recorded by Mr. Arabo. There's very clear that there will be no testimony in his case if Mr. Consley agrees not to testify in this case.
So I have the text messages.
Further false statements are made to the court, which is not necessarily a problem for me, but I want to make sure that Mr. Lee's rights are preserved.
I have the text messages.
I want to listen.
You don't know what? That's the third time you've done it. You're gone. Mr. Allen, take him. You better get Mr. Burgess down here because I want to hear those calls because if he's interfered with it, that's going to be a whole other issue.
I will try to reach him, but I know he is in Lansing, so I'm not certain.
Well, even if he appears, has Mr. Burgess heard the calls?
I don't know, Your Honor. They were sent this morning. I asked Mr. Arabo to send them right away yesterday, and we received them this morning. Mr. Arabo can also be available via Zoom if necessary.
All right. Okay. I'm just letting you know that what I'm hearing is extremely disturbing.
I completely understand that.
And so I'm gonna give an opportunity for the defense to give me some explanation, but I'm inclined at this point, I'm gonna hold him in custody. I'm inclined at this point to revoke his bond.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney on behalf of the people.
I forgot to wait a second.
And Mary Rubio, again, on behalf of Mr. Lee, who is making his way to the podium.
No jacket this time, no jacket.
There's additional counsel that is on Zoom.
I'm sorry?
Oh, there you are.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. May it please this honorable court, Joseph Arabo on behalf of Stephen Kwasny.
All right. And I'm presuming everybody except the court has heard the phone call.
What I heard was the recording the prosecutor gave me, which appears to be a less than 2-minute portion of a phone call. I think she would agree it's not an entire phone call.
That's correct, Your Honor. It's what Mr. Rubble sent me, as well as Mr. Burgess, and law enforcement as this morning.
All right. And that portion of the phone call, as the court is to understand, is basically this defendant speaking with, is it directly with the victim in this case?
No.
No, Your Honor.
Attorney.
It's with Mr. Rubble, who's the attorney for the victim.
All right. And basically offering to not provide testimony in another case if his client doesn't provide testimony in this criminal proceeding.
That is how I would characterize it, Your Honor. If Mr. Rubble has additional information or different information, he's welcome to.
Yes. Mr. Rubble.
Yeah, just to clarify the record, that's a portion of a phone call because I didn't anticipate to record the entire thing. I didn't know who was calling me. And then once I realized what this was, which is an attempt to extort and use this other case that he filed against the victim in this matter to use as leverage to have this conversation at a future point in time, I was quick enough to get on my computer and record it so that the court is aware of what's going on in the matter where I represent Mr. Kwasny, who's the victim in this matter, which is the first matter before the court.
Your Honor, if I may, I really object to that characterization that it was an attempt to extort. I've spoken to Mr. Lee at length about the purpose of the phone call. I also listened to the portion of the phone call. Perhaps the court could listen to it. I do not believe that was what was happening at all. And plus, I don't think there was nothing on there that indicated he was trying to extort this attorney or the complaining witness. Frankly, what Mr. Lee has alleged to me is that he and Mr. Burgess have basically had a breakdown of communication, that he's spoken to Mr. Burgess multiple times, asking him to advocate on his behalf to the prosecutor as well as to this other attorney to try to come up with what he has called, not being a lawyer, using the words a settlement agreement or a plea negotiation. That's what he said to me. And that he had the feeling that Mr. Burgess had not, in fact, made this phone call. So he then called this attorney, and right in the phone call,
because it would have been unethical for Mr. Burgess to call to try to say my client won't testify in this other matter.
Of course.
If that, right? That's
well,
Mr. Burgess may not have done.
And that may very well be, but Mr. Lee indicates that, and I haven't seen these, he indicates that he has text messages back and forth with Mr. Burgess, and that Mr. Burgess, quote, lied to him about whether or not he made these phone calls. So he indicates the main reason that he wanted to call.
That would be irrelevant.
I know that, but Judge, trust me, I know that, but I just wanted to make a record. What, could I just finish though?
Let her finish.
Mr. Lee indicated the main purpose of the phone call was for him to find out whether this attorney could verify whether Mr. Burgess called him. If you listen to the call, the portion of this call, it's literally on there. He says, it starts out with him saying something about plea agreements. The call, it's interrupted. And I believe because counsel didn't realize he was going to need to record this. But anyway, it starts out with him, Mr. Lee, saying something about plea agreement, settlement agreement. Did Mr. Burgess call you to try to, see if I wouldn't testify and then your client wouldn't testify? Yes, he says that. But then he goes on to say, because my lawyer said he called you, and then this attorney confirms what Mr. Lee was trying to find out. And this attorney says, no. You see how easy it was to reach me. I didn't talk to anybody named Burgess. That's what he says. So I'm just indicating that Mr. Lee states that was the main purpose of his call, because he claims he wanted to come in here today and tell Your Honor that he did not want to have Mr. Burgess represent him anymore because he feels Mr. Burgess is lying to him. I'm just representing to you what Mr. Lee has told me.
Your Honor, if I may.
I'd like to say
Yes.
something.
Thank you. Mr. Arabo, it's my turn. One moment. Your Honor.
Because apparently that's how it works in this courtroom. Tana says it's her turn, so it's her turn. Go ahead, Ms. Tana.
Mr. Arabo had some trouble with the drum.
That's only because she's there and I'm not.
Your Honor, I don't really, quite frankly, care what's going on with the client relationship with Mr. Burgess, or claims Mr. Arabo's making about extortion. That's not something that people are going to get involved in at this stage. What I'm concerned about is there is a clear difference between a plea negotiation and two witnesses not testifying, one of them being Mr. Lee, the other one being Mr. Quasi, not testifying in exchange for something. And I agree that the court should just listen to the call rather than us going around calling it different things. What's clear to me is that there is an offer to not testify in exchange for Mr. Quasi not testifying in this case before this court. That is what I'm hearing on that call. That is what's concerning to people, and that's what may bring future charges. We're in the early stages. This needs to go to law enforcement. If it has gone to law enforcement now, and we can follow up.
Mr. Arabo.
Your Honor, as you know, I'm a defense attorney. I think Ms. Rubio is really grasping at straws here to try to help her client. But here's what it is. It's not a plea. We heard her say plea. A plea means a reduction to something other than what is being charged with, not a dismissal, which is clearly being indicated in this. Second, what's happened here is you could see clearly there has been a subsequent case filed. I don't know how this slipped between the cracks because in over 10 years of practicing, I've never seen something like this where a victim turns into a defendant. What during a pending case? Never seen anything like this. So Mr. Lee has done this intentionally so that he can one day use it as leverage to contact me or have somebody else contact me or whoever is representing Mr. Quasny so that he could use it as a negotiation tactic. And what he's engaged in is third-party communication to get through to Mr. Quasny in violation of his bond. That's number one. He's got a no contact order. Second, this is witness tampering. You don't want to call it extortion. Let's find something else. It is witness tampering. He's trying to tamper with Mr. Quasny using the leverage that he created. And I don't know how the prosecutor's office allowed this to happen. Somebody wasn't monitoring things properly, but this is what's happened. First ever time I've ever seen anything like this, and it needs to be handled. It needs to be handled. It's going to be handled.
Okay.
Can we listen to the call?
Everybody
Yes,
listen to it already.
Can somebody send it to Ms. Weidling, and I will then be more than happy to listen, or if there's an easier way for me to do it, I'll do it. Let's take the defendant back and court listen to the call. I can give my decision.
You have to go back.
To you. I'll handle that coming back out. I think Miss Atkins on that. So bring me that. Court's going to stand in recess. Everybody can remain seated. Bring me. Pardon? Yeah. Yeah, bring those two back and then I'll put the others here.
She would like Miss Tana and Ms. Woolley on the Burns matter.
All rise. 14A District Court for County of Washington, State of Michigan is now back in session. The Honorable Judge takes that.
You may be seated.
Already called.
And I got this here. Now I got Kennedy Brown. And got it.
Yeah.
Court does recall the case of the People's State of Michigan versus Larry Lee.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Marie Tan, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney on behalf of the people.
And Mary Rubio on behalf of Mr. Lee, who is approaching.
Get your name, please.
Clearly.
Okay. The issue is in this case that
First of all, we're adjourning the hearing.
I believe we are. That was what I thought we were doing in the beginning.
Well, it's got to stay before me. So,
I know Mr. Burgess is already going to be here on July 1st. I just wanted to put that out there.
yes, but I'm not on the,
Oh,
I'm on the bench, but I'm not doing these.
okay.
Set his preliminary examination July to defendant's request, so my next date is July 22nd, 2025, and that's another 12 p.m. start, because God, I love that. All right. With reference to bond in this case, I've listened to the recording. I'm not going to say there's an over exaggeration or an under exaggeration. I mean, I think it's relatively clear when somebody's very clearly points out an exchange or quid pro quo regarding me not testifying and this other person not testifying, and that is the exchange. I don't know that you get a clearer indication of somebody that is attempting, and especially when they circumvent their attorney, of somebody trying to sort of tamper with and obstruct a case. It couldn't be clearer. I mean, and quite frankly, I don't think there's any design to necessarily frost it over or anything along those lines. I think the idea or what Mr. Lee is saying about what Mr. Burgess wouldn't do is quite frankly just a ruse to hide his own desire to have the exchange that he was speaking with counsel about. Given that, and the court having heard that, with reference to this case, the defendant's bond is hereby ordered revoked based upon the court's hearing of that bond violation.
Your Honor, can I just raise two issues? Before all of this happened, Mr. Lee expressed to me and attempted to express to the court his, as I'm sure the court has gleaned, his displeasure with Mr. Burgess. So I do think there, given some of Mr. Lee's allegations against Mr. Burgess, it may be best if someone else is appointed to the case. I know he doesn't want Mr. Burgess.
And that's fine. I don't know whether or not he doesn't want Mr. Burgess or not, because I think, as I'm indicating, I think that notion of Mr. Burgess not doing something and then his checking is simply a ruse for him to try to get the message that I want this quid pro quo, this exchange.
And I'm not accusing Mr. Burgess of anything. I'm just trying to represent what Mr. Lee has told
And I
me.
understand that.
And Mr. Lee is
I think
about
when
jumping
you-
out of his skin trying to talk, just so you know.
And so when you talk to Mr. Burgess, if Mr. Burgess, if he believes that that's the appropriate step, he can bring that motion before this court and the court will hear it in the day that I'm on. Mr. Lee, I will let you talk in a moment, but I'm going to finish this. Revoking your bond because of what is a clear violation of the bond regarding, and I mean, I think it's an attempt to try to get indirect contact as well as obstruct these proceedings. Because that was accomplished in the manner it was, and I'm not sure that I can trust you with reference to no context and the like, we're at least going to get through this. I am going to, subject to a hearing, defendant's phone privileges for the jail are also revoked. What did you wish to say, sir?
The thing that my substitute attorney here didn't convey to you was that I told her that I have the evidence with me in hand, that my attorney, Mr. Burgess, was the one that actually said that this was a legal way that we can go about it. And no, I'm not.
You know what, Mr. You might as well stop right now.
I have the text.
Because no, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you're misunderstanding something or what, but you are not. Mr. Burgess has appeared before this court. You are not going to sit here and try to disparage that man, saying that somehow or another, Mr. Burgess represented to you
that obstructing a case in this fashion was a legal way to proceed. I'm not going to believe it, and I'm not going to hear you. I'm not going to hear you. I don't know what you, how do you not understand what I'm telling you? Now, if you've got that information and you think that's what it says, you get it to counsel and the court will take a look at it. But you're not going to sit here and disparage that man. It is not going to happen. I'm done. Bond revoked. Take you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your wait and patience online.
All right, so I'm a little lost there. Thanks, Josh. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Hold on a second. I can figure this one out. Hold on. There we. Oh wow, it's moving a little too quick for me. So, thank you, Josh. First of all, just gonna mention that Joseph's style's on point there, but his green screen's a little messed up. It looks like he's losing half of his face there. Judge Simpson was having a long day today, and he just wasn't having it. In fact, Judge Simpson's still live right now, so I don't know what in the world. He's in a long case, so he's probably pretty upset right now. I can only imagine he doesn't like missing dinner. I know I don't. We're going to go to a Thurston County. We got a crazy one there. Josh, you got a bunch of good ones there. I see Kara. I see Sally Port. I hadn't seen Sally Port around in a little while. And see some other great names there. Thanks so much, Josh. We can go over to Thurston County now.
To work with. All right, so let me get everybody under oath. So Mr. Jenkins, have you raise your right hand again? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, hats off. And then Ms. Williams, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, so we're here on a request from Mr. Jenkins to have an order against you, to prevent you from contacting him. And looks like you were served notice of all this on the 8th, which was about a week ago. And what did you get? Did you get his petition? It's called a petition on the right-hand corner and the notice of hearing. Did you get that?
It just says a temporary protection order hearing notice. So yeah.
So did you not get a multi-page document that says petition for protection order on the right-hand side?
I did, yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, that's the petition. That's what Mr. Jenkins told the court to cause the court to set this hearing. Now, there is no order at this stage, but that's what we're going to determine today, if there should be or shouldn't be an order after this hearing. So what the court has to do is I'll be hearing from both Mr. Jenkins and from you about whether there's, and make a determination of the law, whether there's unlawful harassment committed against you by Ms. Williams, and is there a basis for the court to issue an order. So first off, then Mr. Jenkins, are you prepared to go forward on your petition today?
Yes.
So there isn't any other information or other people that you're going to call to court? There's no further hearing after today.
She did try to contact me yesterday.
I'm asking you if there's other evidence that you're going to think you want to present other than what you got ready today.
No.
No? Okay. And then Ms. Williams, you're ready to go forward to respond to this petition?
Yes.
Okay, because this is the day. It's not next week. All right, you understand that. Okay, so let me turn to Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins, I had a chance to look at this order or your petition and refamiliarize myself. So what you seem to be detailing from your point of view is that you were subjected to assaults and so forth throughout the relationship. Maybe you can tell me why you've come to court to ask for this order now.
So it's throughout our relationship, it's been a physically and mentally abusive situation. And every time a physical situation happens to where I get hit or something,
I feel more and more unsafe.
So how long, when did you start this relationship and has it ended?
Yes, it has ended. It started last September.
So September of 2024.
Yes.
And when did you end things?
Beginning of this month.
Okay, so when you filed for
Yeah.
this protection order, all right. And so that's a pretty long, 9-month relationship. So why come to court in June? What was it?
So the last straw was basically, I went to go leave. I was living at her parents' house and I went to go leave because we got in an argument. And I went to pull my car down the driveway and I was going to drop off her daughter's child seat that was in the back of my car. So I grabbed that out of the back of my car and I put it next to the door, and she decides to go into my car and grab my keys out of my ignition because apparently her storage unit key was on there or something. So I walked over to her and grabbed my keys out of her hand. And then she decides to grab my vape out of my door of my car and then tries to walk away with it. So I'm walking with her trying to grab my vape out of her hand. And then she,
All right, so you got your keys back.
yeah, I got my keys
Okay,
back.
all
She
right.
has my vape. So I was trying to get my vape out of her hand because I was trying to leave. And she pulls back away from me and hits me in the top of the head with her iPhone. Like, had to have been like 6 times as hard as she could. So I was bleeding out the back of my head. And yeah.
And what did you do about, what happened next? You get hit in the head, you're bleeding.
I just left because I got told by her parents to leave. So
Okay. And then where'd you go?
I went to urgent care that night to go get checked out to make sure it wasn't anything bad.
What did you find out from urgent care?
They just said it was a head laceration, so it was, and it was in the scalp, so it was bleeding a lot. So I was just worried about it.
So what was the treatment? What did you have to do to take care of yourself after that?
Basically just clean it up.
And so then that happened sometime, let's see, June 5th, you came into the court, which was a Monday, or sorry,
Yeah.
that was a Thursday.
Mhm.
So that happened sometime before then?
Yeah, that happened around the 15th of May, around there. I'm not exactly sure on the date, but
And you finally decided to come a couple of weeks later to the
yeah.
court. Okay. Anything else between the 15th and when you got to court on the 5th?
She just kept repetitively trying to contact me after I said that I didn't want to talk to her
And how did she try to contact you?
through multiple different phone numbers, her personal phone number, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, basically every social media you can think of.
And how did you tell her not to contact you anymore? What did you say, or how did you do that?
I told her that I didn't want to talk and I just needed a break, pretty much. So,
I didn't want to talk and you needed a break.
yeah.
So, any point did you say very affirmatively, don't call me, don't text me, don't social media me?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I said over the phone to not call me and to not text me. I was ignoring her and she was calling me like hundreds of times. So it was a little bit repetitive.
You didn't want to talk, you needed a break. That tells me that maybe sometime later, but you say at some point you did tell her, don't call me at all, don't contact me at all,
Yeah,
more than just I need a break? Or was that how you put it? You thought it meant that, but did you put it in a different way?
I just needed a break from her in general. That's all I meant
How
by
did you
that.
tell her? What did you tell her? Did you think that you needed a break? Did you tell her you needed a break? Did you really want her just to leave you alone, but you didn't tell her? What?
I told her I needed a break.
Okay, all right. So that implies potentially there'll be something later. That fair?
Yes, but it's kind of a complicated situation because she's pregnant too, so
Okay. So what is pregnant with your child?
yes.
Okay, and so that's, you're hoping to have contact about that.
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah, that's
Got
what.
it.
So,
All right. All right, so hundreds of calls, what do you mean, hundreds of contacts? Is that an exaggeration or what do you mean?
I submitted screenshots to the court of she was making online phone numbers and calling me from online phone numbers, and there's probably 1,000 calls in the screenshots of me in the screenshots that I submitted.
And did you respond? It's hard sometimes to see screenshots and know who's saying what, because it's just the stream. I don't know who's saying
Yeah,
what to whom.
well,
So-
when you see the emphasis was nobody else is going to be calling me like 20 or 30 times in a row. So any of the numbers that were like calling me 40 times in a row, that was her trying to call me.
There's some that have some verbiage in them. And I can't tell what date they have a time maybe,
Mhm.
but I can't tell who's saying what. Think I can guess, but I'm not here to guess. When I look at this, there's something in blue and there's something in black. Do you need anything? No, I'm sorry. Can I call you? I'm not sure who's saying that on May 14th. Maybe. I don't know if it's May 14th, but
The blue is the person taking the screenshot.
okay. Does that mean you or?
Yeah, so like if the blue is on the, would be. Yeah, the sender is blue.
Okay. And so.
And those are all from my perspective, so.
Okay, because I read something, are you still bleeding? And I'm presuming that might be Ms.
Yeah,
Williams.
that was
You're
that
saying
night.
yes. Okay. And then, kind of going back through all these, a lot, but yeah. All right, now, kind of stepping back then, the 15th, what happened there, being hit on the head is what caused you to finally come to court. Before then, you make a lot of statements in here. Let me get to, I'm looking at your petition. So there have been threats to kill you on the phone. You
Mhm.
shook the bed. She kicked you driving, pressed the gas pedal too hard. She smacked you in the head as hard as she could. She bit you. She threatened to call 911. I mean, it's just this litany, but I don't know when all this happened. Past instances. What does this mean over since September? These are the things that have happened to you?
Yes.
All right. Called you names, called you vulgar names. Right, and so were those when she threatened to kill you on a phone call?
Yeah, and I
Tell me about
do have that recorded, but I wasn't able to submit it.
Well, just tell me about it then. When
Okay.
about, when do you think it happened generally?
That had to have been probably a couple weeks before getting hit in the head
So
incident.
May, late
Yeah.
April, early May.
Yep.
Okay, and what happened? Tell me what was going on.
So we were on the phone and she was just going off on me because I told her that I was hanging out with one of my friends. And she told me in the phone call that she tried to kill her baby daddy and she wouldn't be afraid of doing that to me too. So
How did you take that? What did you think she meant by that?
Well, from the story she told me in the past, she actually tried to stab her baby daddy and he pushed it away and then she stabbed herself. So that just didn't make me feel very safe around her.
So you understood from her that she had tried to stab a prior boyfriend.
Yeah.
Partner.
Mhm.
And so when she said she wasn't afraid to do that to you, what did you think?
I didn't feel safe at all.
What did you think she might do with that statement? What did that mean to you?
I honestly don't know. I don't ever know her next move. It could be anything. That's how the whole relationship has been. So like it's always the next step up, so like I don't know where she could have gone with it.
The next step up means what?
Worse than the previous incident.
More aggressive?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then, so did you believe that she would be willing to stab you?
Yeah, I definitely did.
All right, and then, threats to call 911, what's all that about?
Threats to call 911.
Say here,
Oh, yeah, I tried to, when she bit me one time,
she bit you and you threatened to call 911.
I threatened to call 911 and she came running after me and jumped on top of me to try to get the phone out of my hands.
You were unsuccessful or successful?
I wasn't successful in calling the cops, no.
How did that resolve?
Not. We kind of just resolved it through ourselves,
So did
basically.
you go away? Did you stay? I mean, she's jumped on you and now you're in a tussle, so what
Yeah.
happened?
We kind of just talked it out and went from there. That's basically what happened.
So somehow she got off of you.
Yeah. Well, she got off of me and she was trying to tell, my parents were staying with me at the time and she was trying to yell at my parents. So that's why she got off of me.
So were your parents, did they come?
Yeah, they were there and everything.
They come to see what was going on or?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that helped quell what was going on?
Mm.
All right, and then jokes, you say she likes to make jokes about your sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about?
She just uses insults and stuff that would obviously, or that would get to me to try to make me mad.
And did it work?
Yeah.
And what would you do?
I mean, I wouldn't reciprocate. So I just, in my head, it just hurt.
Would you lash out? Would you say something? Would you harm her? What?
No.
I don't text back. She threatens to contact past and current people in my life. What's that about?
So she has tried to contact my parents on multiple occasions when they've told her not to contact her. She's contacted my best friend that is and she's tried to contact like past people in my life. So it's just.
And are those folks, I mean, they can take care of themselves as to whether they have contact with her?
Yeah.
So was she saying something to them or I mean?
She was insulting me to them.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
All right. And how did you discover all that?
Well, they just told me about that she was sending her messages.
Okay. So what is it that you want from the court? What do you want?
I want a protection order.
What do you want it to say? What do you want Ms. Williams to stop doing?
To stop hitting people.
About
Anything
you,
is okay.
though. This is about you.
Yeah,
Um,
stop hitting me.
Are you still issuing an order here would prevent you from having contact? So, like, we put an end to this relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you're asking?
Yes.
All right, and so you're asking no contact with you, with?
Yes. No contact with me or any of my friends or family, if that works.
And about workplace? Or
Yeah, workplace too.
school, vehicle, home, what?
Home, vehicle.
Just an absolute don't contact
Yeah.
me in any way, shape, or form?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So is there anything else that you want to say before I turn to Ms. Williams?
Mm-hmm. I think that's it.
Okay, all right, so Ms. Williams, presume you object to the court issuing this order.
Correct.
Okay, so you tell me your side of things as to why there isn't unlawful harassment, or what I should know about all these statements from this petition.
So I'm just gonna go off of the statements in order that he made. So I guess the first thing is me hitting him in the back of the head with the phone. So originally this started the night before. He said, I was a little upset with him about something. He said, I love you. I didn't say it back. I just asked to cuddle with him. The next morning, he was upset about that. And it kind of led throughout the day. So he was at school. I just kind of let him do his thing throughout the day. Didn't really message him that much. And then when he came home, he was hostile, yelling at me, telling me that I'm crazy, I need to shut the fuck up. Another, like, the whole issue also with that day was I was supposed to get my tire fixed because he's been using my car to go from Auburn to Shoreline to and from school every day. And my tire got a hole in it and it was leaking air and I couldn't drive anymore. So I wanted him to help me get it fixed. So when he came home, we went straight to Walmart to try and go get something to fix it there. But the whole time we were driving, he was basically going off on me about not telling him I loved him the night before, and basically that it's not his responsibility to fix my tire when he's been using it every day, and was upset that we didn't get the stuff the night before when we were already at Walmart. And I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. He telling me to shut the fuck up. I knew I was getting upset about the whole situation because the way he was talking to me. So I kind of just told him, how about you go into Walmart by yourself and I'll stay in the car and we can have some space. He slammed the door, got out, came back like 15 minutes later. I was fine. I was calmed down. However, he came in immediately still just yelling at me, telling me that I am a stupid bitch, that I told him I'm not going to say anything if you don't want me to say anything. He told me to shut the fuck up multiple times. He was reckless driving on the way home with my daughter in the backseat, my 2-year-old. And going around the roundabout, he was whipping his car really fast to just intimidate me in the car. When we got home, he was still screaming at me while fixing my tire. So at that point, I had told him, I'm going to go to a friend's house to cool down. And I will talk to you later. Like, I'll see you later. He then accused me of trying to go cheat on him. And basically got in his car. Aggressively drove out the driveway, forgot my car seat was in the back of this car. He sped down the driveway backwards at 40 miles an hour while I was walking my daughter, 2-year-old daughter down the driveway. Got out the car, threw my car seat out. I took his car keys out to get my storage key. I wasn't sure what he was going to do with my stuff in the storage unit. He wouldn't let me get the storage key off. So he yanked it out of my hands. I then just grabbed his dab pen, like he said. And I told him, I'll give this back to you as long as you just give me the storage key. Like, that's all I want. He refused, ripped my daughter's hand out of my hand, tried to pry my fingers backwards to the point where I was screaming at him, "You're gonna break my fingers. Get off of me. You're gonna break my fingers." He didn't listen, and that's where I started to panic. And I did hit him in the back of the head with my phone several times. While doing that, he did not get off of me. After I've asked him multiple times, "Get off of me. You're gonna break my fingers." He did not let go of me while I was hitting him until my family came out and told him to get off.
So say he was, all right, so he had your hand in his hand, he was bending your fingers back to the point of
I
was
had it in my hand.
what does it mean? How was he on you?
He was
yeah.
like grabbing my wrist and then prying my fingers backwards like this while I had his pen in my hand. I was afraid to let go, and afraid that he would then break them if I did let go. So that's why I was telling him, "Get off of me," and then I would let go. But he wasn't listening. He was more worried about his dab pen and prying my fingers off to the point where they really felt like they were going to break. And then I felt the need to defend myself in that situation.
So how is it that he's got your hand and he's bending your fingers back? How is it that you hit him on the head with your phone?
Because my hand was like this and I had my other hand back. Like my hand was just, this other hand was just out.
Your left hand?
Yeah, like his whole back, his whole body was in front of my person right here, with his arm tucking my arm under his arm and then prying my fingers back with his hand on my wrist and his other hand prying my fingers back. And my other arm was behind him because he's in front of me. And that's where I had my phone the whole time because I was going to call my mom. And I guess I screamed loud enough for them to hear and they came out. But before they came out, that's when I was trying to get him off of me by hitting him in the head. And he didn't get off until my family walked out and screamed at him to get off. And that's when he got off. He didn't give me the keys back after that. I gave him his dab pen back. And I was just done with the situation. My family, my mother's boyfriend, yelled at him to give the keys back, and he threw it at my daughter that was in my mom's boyfriend's arms. And he said, "If you throw something at me again, I will call the cops and you need to leave." And that's when Dylan left. So that was the whole situation that happened on the 15th. I think he does have some dates confused because after that was when him claiming that I threatened to stab him and kill him. That happened a couple days after. Actually, later that night after the whole hitting him in the back of the head situation, I did call him and ask if he was okay. He said yes. I offered to go to the hospital with him. He drove all the way down here and then we talked for a while. He asked to come see me. We had a long conversation about taking accountability that the situation shouldn't have happened. Both ends were in the wrong, but he didn't want to take that accountability. So later that night, he still asked to come over. He came over. We sat in the car and talked and had intercourse and promised me that situation would change, that he wanted to stay in this relationship. He wanted this family. He wanted to be together basically. But we just needed a separation. So he did move out. And then during that whole, between the 15th and now, there has been multiple times where we have met up and talked about our relationship multiple times. And he's told me that he wants to keep this relationship. He wants to be committed to this family. And every time he said that, he went off and cheated on me multiple times, with men and women. And he kept doing that for a long time, even before this. And that kind of, every time he would say that he wanted to his family, he would have sex, he would leave, and then he would ghost me.
Say that after the time that you hit him in the head with your cell phone because you felt like you had to get him off of you and protect yourself. You sometime after that, the next day, what? You had a long conversation.
Yeah, that night we had a long conversation.
That night. So, and then
relationship.
you also had intercourse, so you continued the intimate part of your relationship immediately. And then the understanding that you had was that Mr. Jenkins needed some separation, but wanted in this relationship and wanted to be part of you and the potential child that you're carrying. All right. And then, so what I'm hearing, hearing in this petition is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of contacts from you in that time that were unwanted. Tell me about that allegation.
So he had told me that he wanted to break some separation, and that was him moving out, not being with each other all the time. But we were still going to contact each other, text each other, call each other, see each other once a week. That this was definitely still a relationship that we wanted to have, and that he was.
So how did you have that communicated to you? Was that during that long conversation?
Yes, this was most of our conversations about being together and staying in this relationship was in person. He would drive down, we would meet somewhere public, and then have conversations in the car. Then that's when we would make up, we would have sex, and then he would ghost me again. When he said that he would reply and put in the effort, but the whole time he was actually cheating on me. The reasons why he was not replying or ignoring me was because he was out with other women and men. He was messaging them.
So when you say ghosted again, what does that mean?
Basically just ignored me, stopped talking to me, stopped communicating with me.
For how long?
For days, hours, the whole time, until he was ready to have sex again, and then he would want to commit to the relationship and then have sex, and then he would ghost me again the next day after committing and then cheat on me again. It was a very much of a cycle, the same
So it could have been just hours, it could have been a day or so.
For what?
That you wouldn't hear from him when you were contacted.
Because
so did you contact him a lot? What did you do to get his attention?
I did contact him a lot, especially because it was very much mixed signals. You have sex with me, you want to tell me you want this family and this relationship, we're going to talk to each other and work on us, but you sit there and ignore me the whole day, maybe 2 days at a time, and then don't say anything about not wanting this relationship. So it was very much a lot of mind games and manipulation and controlling that he was doing, just to keep me, I believe, just to have sex, because I honestly don't know.
You don't have to speculate, but all right. So that's what you're experiencing in those 2 weeks or so before Mr. Jenkins came to the court for this order. What about previous to this event, this dispute that caused you to hit him on the head? If you look at this petition, there's allegations of threats to kill. He said late April, early May. Anything you want to comment on that discussion?
On that conversation, I did not threaten to kill him. I threatened to kill myself. But that was due to the fact that
threat to kill. What was that?
That I had threatened to kill myself during the audio recording. I did not threaten to kill him.
To kill him?
Sorry?
The allegation is that you threatened to kill him.
Yes, yes. And it also says in here that I have also threatened to kill myself. That was the only time I ever threatened to kill anyone was myself. And it was during that conversation of him cheating on me again, finding out after he was supposed to come home and fix our relationship and have another conversation with my family. And instead he chose to go to his best friend's house to console him during a divorce.
So you never threatened or didn't say anything that you attempted to stab your previous boyfriend and you're willing to do it to him? You didn't say anything along those lines?
That situation did happen with my child's father. He did try to stab me. I filed a restraining order on him for that. But I never tried to kill him, or that story, whatever he's saying is not true.
Okay, that's not true. So then why did you tell Mr. Jenkins you were going to kill yourself? Why do that? Why say that?
Yes, so this has been months of manipulation, controlling, abuse, physical abuse, mental, emotional, and committing to this family and then lying about it. And that day when we had that conversation, I had asked him, can you step outside so I can have a conversation with you without your friend being around? And I basically poured my heart out to him. I told him how much this family means to me and that I really wanted us to work. And that I just don't understand why he continues to hurt me like this and take advantage of me. And
so why did you tell him you were going to kill yourself?
After I
advantage, why?
Yeah, I'm getting to that point. After I said all that, his friend was there laughing with me, laughing at me, and Dylan decided to laugh at me and make jokes at me for being vulnerable like that. And that's when I just completely.
Hey, it looks like Biggin just sent some folks over our way. Thank you so much, Biggin. Looks like we got some folks in here. Everybody, we got Thurston County got some good craziness going on here. It's a couple that's meant for each other. That's all I can say. They're certainly meant for each other. So welcome in. Thank you so much, Biggin. You guys have a great time. We'll get it back.
So after all of that, months of going on and all that, I just was so exhausted and tired of just being used and made to be a joke when I'm 6 months pregnant with his baby, and I have told him how much I've wanted this family, and he's begged me for this family, and then to just be made a joke to his friends.
So why did you think that was the solution, or why did you tell him that?
That was just pure emotion coming out, just pure, I broke down, just pure like giving up and just being so drained from the emotional abuse. The laughing just made me feel so worthless and so used and so, I mean, that,
all right,
just something
so
that.
Then you did not, you dispute that you threatened to harm him because the previous boyfriend actually tried to harm you, is what you're saying. Not you trying to stab him, the previous.
Yeah,
boyfriend.
no,
Story.
He's known that story. That was I told him that from the beginning, that that was the situation with my last relationship. And yeah.
What about this idea that you bit him? What was that?
Yes. So
this allegation?
Yes, I can get to that. That was three or 4 months into our relationship. We had been living in a van together and working, and his parents offered us to go live in a trailer 3 hours from here in Long Beach. So I basically dropped everything and moved my daughter and myself 3 hours away from my support system to be there with him till he was able to start his job. Like that was his schooling that was supposed to happen 3 months after that. So we moved there. We were there for about 3 days. That day that whole situation happened, all started from an argument about where to buy salmon. And I simply said, I don't want to go buy salmon anymore. Please take me back to the trailer. Because it was a really stupid, big argument over salmon. So he was aggressively driving, reckless driving, and drove us back to the trailer. At that point, I was really upset at the fact that he doesn't care for our safety in the car to drive like that. So I told him he was driving, by the way, like I said. So I told him when we got to the trailer, I would like to go get some space. So I'm just going to drive off for 10, 15 minutes. He then got upset with me that I said that, took my keys out and threw them at me while I was at the time 3 months pregnant. And I got out the car, took my daughter out and walked into the trailer while he stormed in there. And I just asked what was his problem. And basically was just going off on me. I don't remember how that argument ended up happening, but he asked me to leave. And I said, totally fine with me. That was the whole point of me trying to get my keys. But I didn't have a phone at the time because a previous situation that he did not mention, a month after us being together, he had
to the point, this allegation that you bit him. Can you tell me?
Yeah, this leading up to this whole situation, because it's a lot of abuse in this whole thing, and that it was self-defense. Basically, he tried to drag me out of the trailer to kick me out while I was asking for my phone that he was going to use to call the cops. He told me to leave. I was trying to, but I didn't have a phone because he destroyed it the month before. And I was 3 hours away and it was 10 o'clock at night. So I needed a phone to get home. So that's when I tried to grab the phone to leave instead of him trying to call the cops. And when I had the phone, he grabbed my arm next to my 2-year-old daughter and tried to literally drag me out of the trailer. That's when I bit his hand because I kept telling him to get off of me. Again, he would not let go. And that's when I bit him, and then he got off of me, and his mother came in and started to intimidate my 2-year-old daughter and myself. And they all kind of piled in on me after I told them that I'm trying to leave. He's not letting me.
Right. So you bite his hand, and the mom was there as well?
Yes. This actually,
in the trailer?
What was that?
In the trailer?
They were outside of the trailer. I had yelled to them to come and help the situation.
Right. And that's what resolved immediately?
No, not what resolved immediately. What resolved is when my mother was called because they were starting to.
No, I mean the physical aspect of it.
Oh yeah, after
he's dragging you out, you bite his hand.
I screamed for.
Was there further conflict there? Physical conflict?
What was that?
Was there further physical conflict then? Or did it just stop with you biting his hand?
It stopped with me biting his hand.
And his mother appears.
And they start basically verbally attacking me, intimidating me and my daughter to get out the trailer, which I was trying to, but I could not because they had my phone and I didn't have a phone. He had.
So how did it all resolve? So how did you get on your way that night?
I did. I got in the car and I was ready to leave, but I was not able to go anywhere. And Dylan begged me to not leave. He then said that he would come with me, and basically told me he wanted this family. He wanted to stay and that he's willing to come back with me and live at my grandpa's house after the situation. So that's when that situation resolved. But on the way during that situation, he also said that I hit him in the head because he braked really hard. While we packed up the car and we were leaving, we were crossing to Astoria on a bridge, on a really high bridge. He was going about 80 miles an hour downhill with my 2-year-old daughter in the back. I yelled at him to slow the car down, and he abruptly smashed on the brake pedal and my daughter's car seat kind of flung forward a little bit because of how hard the brake was. That is when I smacked him in the head and asked him what is wrong with him. Like, why would you do that? I yelled at him to get out the car. He refused to get out the car until we got off the bridge, and then got out the car and we switched. And that's when we drove home and then had that conversation again about him wanting the family and begging me and wanting to do this because I was ready to leave. So that's the whole situation with the biting the hand and the hitting in the smacking him in the head with the brake pedal.
Okay, so let me ask you, with all of this, Mr. Jenkins says that he's doesn't feel safe with you. Do you feel safe with him?
Honestly, there has been so many situations where I've had to defend myself physically from him, from abusing me, and I don't feel safe. Honestly, I don't mind this order being put in place. The only thing don't agree with is the extra stuff he's requesting, like the mental evaluation, the treatment, and the phone and ankle monitoring that he's requesting from me. I don't think that's necessary.
Well, that's a fair thing to talk about. This court doesn't have that authority to order that, will not order it. These petitions are designed by an agency called the Administrator of the Courts, and they're meant to work for lots of different courts, unfortunately. So they lead people to believe that the district court has powers it doesn't have. So no, don't have the authority to order anyone to get into any kind of treatment or to any of those things. So that won't happen no matter what, if I issue this order or not. So you should know that.
I would just like to say that I don't have any desire to be near this man, to contact him. For all the mental, physical, and emotional abuse he has put me through since this petition has been requested, I've had so much peace in my life, and I don't really feel the need to have him any part of it. So I honestly don't think this petition is necessary, also just because it would kind of affect me getting a job, because I do work in retail and they do kind of frown upon petitions like this, because anyone and everyone's welcome into the store, and they just don't want situations happening because I'm working there or something like that. So I don't think he wants any part of his family, any part of his baby. I don't mind that. I don't really care. I just want this whole situation to be over with, honestly.
All right, let me just kind of look through things again, make sure I don't have any other questions of either one of you. So, Mr. Jenkins, Ms. Williams, this court's not going to issue an order on behalf of Mr. Jenkins nor behalf of Ms. Williams. I mean, I was toying with flipping the sides, which allows me. This is a dangerous relationship. I want you to hear that loud and clear. You are being dangerous to each other. Dangerous relationship. You need to, both of you have been engaging in episodes that put you both at risk, put your partner at risk, other people at risk. The court doesn't find, I think there's domestic violence being committed by both sides, or self-defense being had to be used by Ms. Williams. I'm not going to issue an order. I think that's going to create a situation that would be kind of feed into harming Ms. Williams more than the order would protect anything from. All of a sudden, then she's a domestic violence crime victim, as you are as well, Mr. Jenkins, and all of a sudden there's an order that somebody has a little power more so, and you're both using the same sort of power and control over each other, which is really dangerous. Now, whether you have contact with each other, you're adults, you're gonna make that decision. Obviously, there's a child on the way, but that doesn't mean anything. You don't have to be part of that. But at this stage, without more, from what I've heard, I don't find a basis under the law to issue an order protecting Mr. Williams from, or Mr. Jenkins from Ms. Williams. I hope that the two of you can find a way not to put yourselves in these situations that are dangerous for both of you. So the order ends today. That doesn't mean you have to have any kind of contacts.
All right, so I thought about it. I didn't know that she was pregnant with the kid, and I didn't know some of the other details of it. I kind of think they deserve to be sentenced to each other, and they should have to hand over the kids. Listening to her and him fighting, and him slamming on the brakes, knocking the kid around in the car, and all that, it just shows you the next generation and what they're coming into. I know my generation had their mess ups, but that's kind of a mess. We're gonna jump over to Judge Middleton, and then we'll get out of here. So Judge Middleton, here, this one's from yesterday afternoon.
5 Tamarack cases, and the plaintiff is here on that case. Susan, could you join us, please? So far, the only Tamarack Association defendant that's here is Renee Horadsky. Good afternoon.
Hello, sir.
We'll set those aside for a minute while we take care of our 2 Z-Smart cases. Good afternoon, Ms. Keith.
Hello.
We have with us Ms. Alyssa Ferris. Ms. Ferris, could you unmute your microphone?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this case. All my files are now electronic, so give me a minute to pull it up here. This is file number 25970. It is a small claims matter. Both Ms. Ferris and Ms. Ransky are here in small claims, and so is Mr. Camp, the plaintiff on the Tamarack cases. Let me tell you all, you're here in small claims court, which is a separate division of the 3B district court. Generally in district court, the court has jurisdiction to hear a matter up to $25,000. Small claims jurisdiction is limited to $7,000, $7,500. And neither side is allowed to have an attorney. We don't make a formal record in small claims court, but everybody is under oath. There is no appeal from small claims court. Neither side is allowed to have an attorney. Once we begin, then any ruling is final, and there is no appeal from a small claims matter. Either party has the right to remove the matter from small claims to the general division of the court. But if you do, they have to tell me before we begin. Ms. Ferris, do you understand?
Yes.
Ms. Keith, you understand?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you if you would both please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Yes.
All right, this claim had to do with a rent-to-own contract, and they all kind of run together. Let me take a look at this one. The claim, as I said, is for $4,561. Alyssa refuses to pay on or return a sectional. We ask for the remaining balance owed of $4,411.06 plus $150 in field visits, in which case that will belong to you. Ms. Keith, is that still accurate?
It is.
All right. And
That's
Ms.
false.
Ferris?
That's not
Well,
true.
all right,
The amount
well,
is true.
all right, tell me what you want me to know.
Larissa Whitley and Frank Whitley are the ones who rented the couch from Z Smart. The only thing I signed for was for them to be able to have it here because I am on the lease. I never signed to be responsible to make payments of anything. I have agoraphobia. I haven't left my house or my driveway for 4 years. I can't work. I can't do any of that. So I don't understand how I'm being made responsible to pay for that. I called numerous of times for them to come get the couch and they refused. They said there was too much damage to it. There's not even no damage to it.
Well, you're listed on here as a co-renter.
I kind of doubt that. I kind of think any couch she has damage to it. I just can't think something just tells me she's not taking care of furniture, especially rent-owned furniture.
Co-renter was not on there when I signed. When I signed below Larissa and Frank's signature, that co-renter was not there. It was written in ink. My husband was out there when I signed. There was no co-renter. There was nothing next to my name at all.
But that is your signature?
That is my signature, yes. But that co-renter next to it was not there.
You're signing a rent-own contract. You weren't giving somebody an autograph. What happened to the Whitleys?
They both separated, got into an argument. And then they both went their separate ways. Larissa moved to Kalamazoo and Frank is somewhere here in Sturgis.
So you're there with the furniture?
Yes.
Well, you have the benefit of that. Miss Keith, what is the deal with the office visits or the home visits?
We were going out there to try and collect payment or to pick it up. Nobody would let us in. When she finally called, it was last week. The manager went out to see if it was able to be returned. It's got paint or nail polish on it. It was brand new when they got it. It's leather, so it's not like you can just get that off without damaging the fabric.
It's literally like $5.
All right, Miss Ferris, anything else you want to tell me?
No, I mean, that's it. I told you my side of the story. I don't have anything else to say. I'm frustrated because I've never had to go to court. I'm not a criminal, you know what I mean? I don't.
Well, you're not charged with a crime. This goes under the category of no good deed goes unpunished. You co-signed for those other two people. Of course, you have the benefit of it. They left and you still have it. Now you're the proud owner of it.
I know, but I don't want it. I don't want a judgment on my record. I haven't left my house for 4 years, and when I do, I want to be able to
either. They're not going to just take it back. They can't re-rent it or resell it. You owe $4,561.06 and $85.25 in costs. As a practical matter, you probably don't have much of an ability to pay on this. Do you get Social Security disability?
No, I'm working on my mom is trying to help me get it.
Do you have any source of income?
No. My husband was in an accident back in 2021 on life support and in the hospital for a month, and it caused a lot of trauma, which is why I haven't left my house in 4 years.
Well, it's a beautiful day. I'd encourage you to maybe step outside and take a look. As a practical matter, they're going to have a very difficult time collecting on this debt, but I do find that you owe it. You signed as a co-signer, you have possession of it, and they'll attempt to collect. Maybe your circumstances will change. Anyway, I've signed the judgment. $4,647.31. Ms. Ferris, I'm not completely joking. Today is a beautiful day. Step outside for a minute, maybe one little step at a time.
Yep. That's what I've been doing.
All right. You're good to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, someone's going to have to tell me what agoraphobia is.
All right.
I'm just
our
surprised I
next
can pronounce
case,
it.
which is another Z-Smart case.
All right, we're going to get out of here tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you, Big and his people for coming over. We really appreciate it. We love having you over here. According to Linus, we do the show every night except for the nights we don't. Thank you for coming out. We do a show in the morning where we just go from court to court to see what's on out there. Judge Simpson is still live, so he's probably just mad as could be right now. So I'm gonna go watch that. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
No, I'm totally fine. Like, love it, love it, love it. Can I ask why?